Hello everybody, this is Eric, back with another video. It's been a little while since I made a video. The weather's been horrible lately and I been kind of taking a break and trying to do a little deer hunting and stuff. Uh, but yeah, I think the Lord's been kind of pushing me to do another video. I'll talk about like your enemies will be that of your own household. I've been dealing with that lately. Particularly with my children. I have three boys, and it's with my two oldest ones. Like I said, when you're not on the same level spiritually, they're gonna try to undermine you, or they're gonna be, even if it's not intentional, they're gonna be trying to. The devil's gonna use them to harm you. You're gonna have to You have to separate from them. You don't have to be mean and malicious towards them, but you're gonna have to put distance between you and ask God to work on their hearts and help them. Because at some point, especially if you can openly see that they're trying to harm you and they want nothing to do with God, you're gonna have to separate, because God's gonna continuously give you red flags whenever they're up to something. You're gonna see what they're doing, and you gotta just keep these things in your mind and see how many times it's going on, and it continues, and you warn them, and it continues, and you warn them, and it continues, and they don't change it whatsoever. At some point, you're gonna have to do something drastic. I had to do that with my teenage son, and he has to go. So he's gonna have to go stay at his mom's. And I told him to just leave him in God's hands, because there's nothing else I can do right now. And all you can do is pray for them, and hopefully they'll eventually come around at some point. But yeah, God's separating the wheats from the tares, things of that nature, and you can't be a respecter of persons. You cannot put anybody above God, not even your own child. And that's a hard one. Your instincts are to protect your children. And that's a hard one. I never thought I'd have to go through this and have to deal with that, but I'm kind of I got adjusted to it. It's been a little bit since this happened to me. But yeah, I took it really hard. And, but I understand it's all for God's purpose. And if anybody can help them or fix them, it's going to be God. And sometimes that's the only way. But I've been through it a lot, all this before with my ex-wife and all the horrendous stuff she was doing to me. And like I said, my oldest teenage son picked up her traits, the narcissistic traits, and she's a full-blown narcissist, and she still ain't doing any better. And this been, I don't know how many years, since 2018 I went through that divorce with her. She hasn't changed a bit that I can tell. So, like I said, certain people, they're here to try to kill you and destroy you. And it could be your own child, your own mother. Same thing with, like I said, I don't have any other family that I'm really close to right now. Everybody's so spread apart, so far apart spiritually. Especially if you're a chosen one, there's something in you you have a much more powerful spirit than everybody else. You are not like everybody else. If you're like me, you never fit into this world. You never fit in with the crowds. They were always doing things that I knew wasn't right. Like, what are they doing? They just wild. I felt like the people my age were just totally wild. I felt like I always could get along better with elderly people. I felt at ease and comfortable anytime I was around elderly people. I'm like, y'all are my people. Like, I'm born at the wrong time. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, the kids, that's just so wild that I grew up with. I spent a lot of time alone, or I just have one or two friends that I mainly hung around. I didn't have I had a group of friends, but not very many that I was actually close to. And then as we got older, we even got further apart. But yeah, now it's down to my your own families. And if I'm going through it, I'm sure the other chosen ones out there are going through this also, because we all go through these things at the same time, because we're all connected. We're all one. We're all like one family. That's your real family, is your spiritual family. Your blood family means nothing. It sounds like a cruel thing to say, but because your own mother or dad will wish harm on you, try to kill you if they're operating for the devil. So my wife goes through the same thing with her own family that I'm going through. So we all get it. So God sent me a good godly woman, and we're on the same level, and we grow together. So you can't be unequally yoked with anybody if you're married. One of y'all cannot be going to the bar room every night while the other one's reading the Bible. It's not going to work. God's going to split that up. He's going to intervene at some point, no matter how much you try to hold on to that situation. Even if you're trying to hold on to it for your children's sake or anything else. That's what I tried to do. I had young children involved. I was like, I knew I couldn't trust the woman I was with, and I knew at some point we was going to have to split up. But I was going to try to at least let them kids get into their teenage years. But our plans is not God's plans. He when he says it's time to move, it's time to move, whether you want to or not. Chosen ones, he's moving you around like chess pieces on the board, because you're the ones that's here to change it all. Hopefully we can get more people to start awakening this year in 24 as more information is being poured out. That's what I do a lot on Facebook. I constantly just posting. Even though the people don't want to hear it, they don't like anything you post. They won't share anything you post, but they sit there and watch. And it's like they're frightened. They're scared. They're scared to make a stand. They're scared to do anything. They're putting things in the world over God, or the job, or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. Who cares? Job is not my God. I ain't gonna be able to pay my bills. I'm gonna lose my house. God ain't gonna let that happen to you. Because I went head on and just said, let's see what happens. I don't care. I got to the point where I didn't care. I've been through so much turmoil in my life, my whole life, since I was a baby. So the devil knows who you are before you even born. He's already planning to take you out. And all the chosen ones have been through this, which is to prepare you for this time. That's why the last will be first, and the first will be last. You was always the last one. You was always the last one to get picked for anything. You was always the outcast, the abandoned child, the one that nobody wanted. Guess what? You're gonna be first now, and everybody else is gonna be pushed to the back of the line. They're gonna be the last ones to awaken through this awakening process. So that tribulation comes at the end. Our tribulation was at the beginning, our whole life. Which I didn't understand what was going on my whole life. I wish I'd have known the things I know now. Could have made things a lot easier on myself. I could have gotten out of situations that were toxic, that I was holding on to. You try to make plans for your future, but that's not God's plans. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know why you're here. You don't know what you're doing here. Once you start to discover your purpose, then you're going to realize what it's all about. This is all a spiritual realm, this whole earth. Nothing is what they told us it was. Shape of the earth, everything. It's not a spinning ball. It's not a flat, like a pancake either, like some of these stupid pictures they post. It's more like, I'd say it's more like a bowl, or like if you fill up your bathtub with water, you got to have a bottom or a bowl to it with sides. That's how water works. And water's flowing. It's always going to flow downhill. It's basic plumbing. Don't take a genius to figure it out. You just got to put your thoughts into these things and start to unravel it one piece at a time. Say, okay, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And then eventually you're going to get to the point where, hey, somebody's lying. And then the Bible, like I said, depicts everything. It says everything above us moves. The stars move and the sun and the moon. I've been, I think it took me about a year and a half to be fully convinced on the flat earth thing, but my wife always questioned it. She's like, oh yeah, I always knew something wasn't right with that. Her mama was a school teacher, and she said she used to question her mama about it. When she would look at that globe, it didn't look right. Like, how do you not fall off of that? They talk about you're gonna fall off the edge of a flat earth if you walk off the edge, but how you not gonna fall off that globe? And they just got to come up with some stupid lie called gravity. I'm getting off into a whole different topic now. But that's all part of the awakening. You got to understand where you live. It's a big deception. People think it's not important, but it is very important. And people can tell you things, but they can't. You got to do the research for yourself. You got to understand the physics of water. But people that work with their hands and stuff and are used to doing plumbing and different things of that nature, and it'll start to come to them easier. You cannot have water bowing up and then coming down. The water's going to flow in both directions from the peak of the hump. It's like when water flows down a mountain. It's only going to flow from the highest to the lowest level. Yeah, this pond's been dry. The water came up about a foot over the last month or so with the rain. It rained about 3 days in a row last week. It's finally starting to dry up a little bit out here. It's too muddy to even go outside, to come out here around this pond. Doesn't look like the fish are going to cooperate. I think we lost a bunch of fish last year in the drought. The summer was extremely hot. We didn't get rain. Normally down here in South Louisiana it rains every afternoon. We have afternoon showers after lunch nearly every day. That's the typical weather, but last year it was no rain. I've never seen it like this before. But yeah, you have to gotta keep digging, keep going down that rabbit hole every day. Every day, every day, every day. There's always something new coming up that we have to learn about, and a lot of things. It gets to be overwhelming. Sometimes you gotta take little breaks. You need to be getting outside in nature, because it's you gotta keep your mental health in check. That's the same thing with having to separate from people that's toxic. Like I said, no matter who it is, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to destroy your mental health to the point where they're going to either put you in a hospital, you're going to want to commit suicide, something like that. A lot of people losing their life, or people are turning to drugs and alcohol and stuff trying to cope. They don't understand they're constantly under attack spiritually. And Satan's going to use any vessel that's weak. Anybody that's not in the truth and they're not trying to constantly seek God's face and seek knowledge and understanding, that was going to use that person. And he's going to try to position people around your life. And even you might have new neighbors that'll move in next to you, and that's somebody that the devil sent to try to get to you. Had that happen with my youngest son. Some new people moved in and they had some kids, and the kids were like little demons. Had to tell my little boy to quit going around there. He couldn't go play with them anymore. Like I said, the world's just getting more and more wicked. It's like I can't even let my kids go play like we did as a child, because especially once you become chosen and set apart, oh Lord, he's gunning for you. Because anybody can become chosen. Some of us were just ahead of others, and then we're trying to lead everybody else. That's in Revelations. It talks about the 144,000, but then eventually there's going to be an innumerable amount of people way beyond that. It might be 144,000 initially to start off with, and then it's going to become millions or billions of people, probably billions, about over the next several years or throughout the tribulation period. No. So it's not that anybody's any better than one another, but people got to be putting the work in. If they're not putting the work in, they're going to get used to hurt you. And all you can do to protect yourself is you got to keep your distance. Like I said, same thing with my mother and everybody else. I got to keep them at a distance. They're not doing any work. They just think we're crazy. They don't want to hear none of this stuff. The Holy Spirit's going to be guiding you and leading you to be digging. Like I say, and everybody starts to wake in a different period, so everybody's on different levels of understanding. Some people may have not even gotten into the flat earth stuff yet. They still, just because they're just not there yet. You're going to sound crazy to people that have not done the work on these different topics. There's still things that I don't understand, I don't quite get. When they start talking about certain things, like these reptilians and all that stuff, I don't quite understand what that is exactly, or if it's even real or not. I'm just to the point where whatever, I don't care. I'm covered by God. God's going to protect me no matter what, so I don't care what kind of creatures they got. But whatever was there has already been here. They're not flying in from outer space. They're actually saying if there's a way out, it's through the ocean. You're not flying up and out through the firmament. They wouldn't have to build bunkers. These billionaires wouldn't be building bunkers if they could fly and leave the planet. So if they had access to leave the planet, whether it was down through the oceans or up through the sky, they would be out of here. They wouldn't be sticking around. They wouldn't want to be building a bunker. It's only good as long as it's undetected. As soon as somebody finds it, it's very easy to cut off your air supply or whatever. be trapped in there. So to me, like I say, that's unless you super rich and you got these big old complexes under a mountain or something. A small bunker is not very safe at all. As soon as somebody finds it. But yeah. Gotta be eating right, drinking plenty of water, get out, get the sun hit you. This first warm day we had in a while. It's probably maybe in the mid 60s right now, but between 65 to 70 degrees. Doesn't look like the fish want to cooperate. Figured I might catch one while I was making this video, but I kind of like to just let the Holy Spirit kind of lead me when I do videos, and I don't like to sit there and script everything out. So sometimes I might veer off of topics and jump onto something else. But I'm not a very tech savvy person when it comes to these videos, so I don't know how to really edit the videos and do all that kind of stuff. Maybe over time I'll learn it if God wants me to stick with this YouTube thing. It's not something I even like to be doing. I don't even like to be in the spotlight. I never liked it. But when he pushes you, you gotta go where he wants you to go. So hopefully I can put out some more videos that may help someone. Like I say, I care about everybody. Sometimes we care too much. I don't guess we take on everybody else's pain. We can feel everybody else's pain. When you're an empath, you feeling it. You start feeding off everybody's energy, and that's the whole thing too. If you got people that's on that low energy, low vibration people, they're gonna drain you, constantly trying to deplete you, where you cannot do God's purpose and God's will. They're just trying to just drain your life force energy out of you. It's like leaving the lights on a vehicle, draining your battery. Instead of them trying to build with you, they're just trying to tear you down. Like I said, a lot of them they do it unknowingly. That's why God says, forgive them. They know not what they do, because a lot of them don't. Some of them know. They know what they're doing, especially by this point. Especially after you've been educating them. And they're still doing it after you've been educating them on this whole deal. And you've been educated on narcissism, and you can spot them out. And it happens to be your own family members. You got to let them go, because you're not going to be good to anybody if you're not taking care of yourself. I said you won't be able to function. So I've been through it all. I've been hospitalized and everything. I didn't understand what was going on, getting to that point, and I'm not letting it happen to me again. Like I said, you got to set boundaries, and you got to hold them, because they're going to constantly try to come back and test those boundaries to see if you're still going to hold it. They might stay quiet for a while, a month or so, and then they come back around and they make another attempt. They come in to test that boundary, seeing if that wall's still up, seeing if they can soften that wall up. But you gotta test their fruits and see what they doing, or if they still that same person, you can't. And a lot of them, it's gonna take quite a bit of time for them to, and quite a bit of trauma. They're gonna have to go through some type of trauma like we did to get us to God. That's what it took to push us to God. A lot of us, we had to go through a lot of traumatic stuff in our life where we had nowhere else to go. We lose family members or the people that we were closest to, that we relied on, like a father figure or something. That we would always go to that person, and then God took them out of our life. If they passed on, that's what happened to me, and that's what happened to my wife. The ones we relied on, God took them out, and He's like, okay, now what you gonna do? And you had nowhere else to go. You got to go to God. That's how it's gonna be for them too. You're gonna have to break them down. They're gonna have to suffer. You can't go in there and be, I'm gonna come and save you. No. Jesus is their Savior. You're gonna have to let God come save them. He's gonna have to break them down completely. They got to totally surrender themselves to Him, and then He's gonna start piecing their life back together. It's the only way. That's how it was for me. I went through all this stuff in 2018, and God started piecing my life back together. Gave me a godly woman, and everything started to get into harmony. But you still getting spiritually attacked, but you starting to build discernment, and you're aware of these things as it comes now. You got knowledge. That's why He says, my people will perish for lack of knowledge, because, hey, we had no knowledge. A lot of people perish because they turn to drugs and alcohol. Like, man, they're like, I don't know what's going on in this world, but all I know is I get beat down day in and day out and day in and day out, and they just trying to find relief. So I've never been addicted to drugs or alcohol, but I've seen a lot of people that have been, and I don't make fun of anybody that's gone through that, because I understand how most of them probably got that way, because they probably are a chosen one. And they've been attacked so hard that, like I said, they trying to find relief. They're going to anything and everything but God. But a lot of people think that, oh, once you find God, it's easy. No, you got to start giving up the world, all these worldly things that we like to do, and everything that we shouldn't have been doing. Whoa, I think I had a fish. I lost him, man. Yeah, you got to give up the worldly things. You got to get back to simpler things, nature. That's going to help you heal too. Just being out in nature, letting the sun shine on your skin, ground yourself, walk around barefoot when it's warm enough. And the same thing with these birds. When you hear the birds, the sounds and the frequencies from the birds, it all has healing effects. Yeah, cool. This video is starting to get a little long. I think I'm gonna shut it down right there. Y'all have a blessed day, and I love y'all.